What's up, guys? This is Matt, and today I'm very excited to be starting a new series on my channel based on the game Dwarf Fortress. If you haven't heard of this game, the best way I could think of to describe it is a civilization management simulator. It's incredibly complex and incredibly deep. Anything can happen in this game. I plan to use the first couple videos in this series to kind of help people understand the controls and maybe some things to think about, things you can do in the game. But I'm in no way an expert, and I'm constantly looking at tutorials and looking on the Dwarf Fortress Wiki and just still learning the game day to day. So I'll show you as much as I can in the first couple videos, and then it will turn into a Let's Play for the rest of the videos as long as my fortress survives. It will fail. It always fails. There's no win condition in this game. So remember, losing is fun. The most important thing, I think, especially for beginners, is using the Lazy Noob pack. I will put a link to that down in the description. It's just a way to launch the game, and it comes with a lot of easier ways to change the settings for the game and modifications and just change different parameters. It makes it a lot easier for users to play the game. So I will put a link down in the description, and if you want to follow along, use that. It'll make a lot of my explanations make more sense, really. Included with this introduction video, I'm going to show you world generation, because in Dwarf Fortress you have to create a world before you can play. And I will also show you how to set up your 7 dwarves for their embark. So really, there's going to be no gameplay in this video. But starting in the next video, we're going to drop our dwarves off in the cold, cruel world and see how it goes. So here we go. We're going to go over to world generation. Okay, so this is what it'll look like when you launch the Lazy Noob pack. And you can see there's just some different settings you can change. You can turn off the economy, which isn't really existent in this version of Dwarf Fortress anyway, so we'll turn that off. Make sure you turn off aquifers. That's something I always do. Really, I don't worry about too much other stuff. I am going to be using the Phoebus graphics pack, so if you do want it to look just like this, click on the Phoebus graphics pack, hit install graphics, just OK and OK. It's very simple. Also, I also like to turn off the sound. Dwarf Fortress doesn't have sound. There is music. It is very nice. So if you want to leave it on, you go right ahead and do that. I also turn off the intro movie just because it makes getting into the game quicker. And I always make my game windowed. That way I can minimize it, go on the internet, do whatever. It makes it a lot easier than tabbing out. So if you just wanted to change a couple of those options, you can go right ahead. Otherwise, press down here in the bottom left, play Dwarf Fortress. Okay, now, if this is the first time you're playing, you're not going to see either of these top options. All you're going to see is create a new world. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So I'm going to press enter to create a new world. Okay, welcome to the alpha version of Dwarf Fortress. Now, this is going to be your first set of options in Dwarf Fortress. This is going to be the first things you can do. This is going to dictate the world that the computer creates. And a lot of these things will change. They might change your experience a little bit. They'll also change the creation process, make it go quicker or take longer. World size. This is quite literally how big of a world the computer will generate for you. Now, you will not be moving around anywhere besides your embark site. But what the world size will do is it'll give you more options on places to start your fortress. So just for the sake of being quick, I am going to knock this down to the small setting. Your history. The Dwarf Fortress will generate a history. There will be other civilizations. There will be other dwarves. There will be other humans, goblins, elves, and they will be friends with each other. They will fight each other. There will be wars. That's what this is going to do. And instead of it generating 250 years worth of war, I'm going to drop this down to short. It'll be about 125. The number of civilizations, I'll leave right where it is. That's fine. Maximum number of sites, I'll also leave. Because this is going to be kind of a beginner's video, and because I still have a lot to learn about this game. I'm going to drop the number of beasts down to very low and the natural savagery down very low. That'll just make it very easier. When we first embark, there's going to be nobody attacking us right away. We'll have a little bit of time to get our dwarves underground and get a good supply going. Mineral occurrence, for the same reason, we're beginners. I'm going to actually bump that up to frequent. Hopefully that'll make it a bit easier for us to find metal and find valuable precious gems and ores and stuff like that. So let's knock it up to frequent. All right. Now you can see at the bottom, this is other ways you could use your numpad instead of the arrow keys. I was using my arrow keys there. Press escape to abort, or let's press Y to go. And the computer, here you go, it's generating a world. You can see ocean around the outside right now. The gray is depicting mountains. You have hills and grasslands and forests, rivers, everything you could think of. It already has generated the elevation and the temperature and all of the major landforms. And now, as you see here, the computer is pumping out the history. This is how many historical figures there have been in this world, how many people have died, how many events there have been. Now, we did set it to generate 125 years. However, at any time, as you can see right down here in the bottom, you can press enter or escape to pause the generation. And since I guess since the map itself is done, I really don't care about the history as much. I'm going to pause it right about here. I press enter. Give it a second to realize. And you have a couple options here. You can use the world as it currently exists. You could press C to continue the generation, or you could press A to abort. You can also move around with the arrow keys at this point. I'm going to leave it just how it is, so I'm going to press the letter U on my keyboard. And it's going to finalize a couple spots. Now you can look around. You can see, if I move here, you see this will be a statue in the game, but here this is the Dwarven Mountain Halls of Asinturish, the Point of Nails. Okay, very interesting names in this game. You'll see soon. Jungle Land. What do we have here? The Elven Retreat, and you'll be able to look around the Lake of Heroes, and you'll get some idea of what's going on. The Dark Dwarf Fortress. No, we don't want to go over there. Okay. Anyway, so you can kind of look at the world, see what's going on. Anyway, now you could press enter to accept this world, and that's what we're going to do. It's going to offload some units. Don't be alarmed. This is going to bring us back to the main menu, because now you will have an additional option that says start playing, or what is it? Start a new game. And here we go. Start playing. So that's what we're going to choose here. And Region 2 was my other game. Region 3 is the one that we just created. If this is the first world you've created, it'll be your only option there. It'll probably say Region 1. Go ahead and press enter. And we're gonna press Dwarf Fortress mode. Adventurer mode will be kind of like your classic roguelike. You'll control one single dwarf and go on an adventure and be able to fight and explore and stuff like that. And Legends mode will allow you to go into that history that Dwarf Fortress generated for your world. So in this case, we are going to press enter for Dwarf Fortress and give the computer a minute to load. And here we go. This is the first instance of maybe a complicated screen for Dwarf Fortress. So going from left to right, on your left, think of it as the most zoomed in view. This right here is right where you will embark if you choose this site. Region is a little bit more zoomed out. When you move your arrow keys or the arrows on the numpad, the center region area will be the X that moves one for one. The world map is the most zoomed out. That's what we saw. That's more of what we saw a minute ago. And now we're going to try to find a place to set our dwarves to embark. So there's going to be a couple things that we're going to look for up here on the right. This is going to tell us about the specific spot that we're looking at. So where the X is in the region map. It's going to tell us what kind of place it is. It's going to give us the temperature. It's going to give us trees. It's going to give us vegetation. It's going to give us the surroundings. Now, as a beginner, I think you should look for either woodlands or heavily forested. We're going to look for probably thick vegetation, and you're going to try to look for temperate or warm temperatures. Temperate will allow the water to freeze in the winter. Dwarf Fortress does simulate all 4 seasons, so temperate will freeze the water in the cold in the winter months, and then water will become liquid again. It's not too big of a deal. I don't mind. For your surroundings, let's look for something that's calm. Now, if you come down here, you'll see if you press F to find a desired location, Dwarf Fortress will let you pick some parameters, and then we'll find you a good place to set your dwarves. Also, underneath all of these, you're going to see what kind of resources are in the area. So clay, deep soil, shallow metals, and deep metals. Now, if you turned off aquifers in the first screen on the Lazy Noob pack, you won't see those there. However, that's where that will be listed. You also want to find a river. And if you see here on the local map, this spot right here is where we would embark. I can move this by pressing UMKH, kind of in the shape of arrow keys. And I can move it around and get a river into my fortress. So actually, I think this will be a good place to pick. This looks like it's going to be a flat land, temperate. There's a river. It's a woodland area. There's going to be some moderate vegetation, and the surroundings are calm. We're not going to be getting attacked right off the bat. Of course, goblins will come in the future, and if we piss off any elves or any humans. But I think this is a good place to embark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here to the bottom, and I'm going to press E to embark. And it's a warning. Of course, I do want to embark there because I just told you why. So I'm going to press enter. Okay. Now you have a couple more options. You can play now, and it'll give you a generated starting, outload, whatever. You can prepare for the journey carefully, which is what you're going to do probably when you learn a little bit more about the game. But with the Lazy Noob pack, you get a couple presets, and once you make one in the prepare your own journey, or prepare carefully, you can save it, and it'll be listed here along with the other ones. This is what skills your 7 dwarves are going to have, and also what items you bring with you. Because there's only 3 ways to get items in this game. You can either bring them with you at the start of the game, you can build them in-game, or you can trade for them when trade caravans come visit your fortress. So for now, the one I've been using a lot is right here, the DF VidTuts 2012. This seems to work out for what I've been using, so I'm going to use this one. I suggest you do too if you have the newest Lazy Noob pack. If not, you can prepare for the journey carefully because I'm going to go through a little bit and you should be able to follow along with what kind of stuff we have. So I'm going to enter, prepare to embark. Now this is a little warning. I wasn't able to get, you can see here, that preset had sand and red sand and fish and cave lobsters. So we weren't able to bring those with us, so now I'm going to have a couple extra points to spend. All right, this is the first screen that you're going to see. These are the 7 dwarves here. You see it's generated names. I'm not even going to try. I'll just give you the first names: Rigoth, Tun, Tausid, Odom, Kadal. Oh my goodness, this is going to be fun. Okay, so just to give you an idea, let's say I was giving skills to this dwarf. I could press right on the arrow keys or on the numpad, and it'll bring us over to the skill menu. Now these are all the different skills: miner, woodcutter, carpenter, mason, engraver. And this is how much that skill will cost to bump up a level. These points down here is how many points I have to spend. For instance, I can still give this guy 4 more skill points. So, say I wanted to make him a mason. I would press the plus key on my keyboard, and that would add one skill level to Mason. He is now a novice Mason. But you'll see that it cost 5 points because that's what it had been originally. Every time you give a point, it will cost another point. So as you see, each time, that number will get bigger and bigger. And because he only had 4 left, I could only go up so high in masonry. However, I believe I already have a mason. Yes, I do. And he's very good at it. And it looks like I'm just going to leave everything how it is. I don't know what and why this guy doesn't have all of his skills used. Let's give him a point in engraving. I guess let's give him a point in that. No, see, you don't want your miner doing too much because that will distract him from mining, which is usually very important. So let's just leave it how it is. Now, to get to items, you're not going to leave this screen yet. You're going to press tab, and that's going to switch over to items. Now, these are all the items you could bring with you. You see I'm bringing 2 copper picks because on the dwarf screen I have 2 miners. If you don't bring a pick, they cannot mine. I'm bringing an iron anvil because I'm going to get into metal making early. If you're not, you can always buy an anvil from a trading caravan later. I'm bringing a crossbow for my hunter. If you want to add something to this, to the menu, you press N for new, and it'll bring up all the different categories. Meat, fish, eggs, everything you could think of. So, for instance, if I wanted to bring along another crossbow with me, I'd come down here to weapons, I'd go over to the right, and I could go down and I could choose crossbow. But these are also going to cost points, and I only have what was left, 75. So I could bring another crossbow if I wanted to, or I could press escape and go back to the screen before. So really, I'm going to leave everything that's up here. I'm just going to increase a couple of these. I'm going to bring a couple more plump helmet spawns because these are basically seeds for plump helmets. And barrels in this game, I know I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but barrels store 10 items at a time. So what I do to get a couple extra barrels is we'll knock this number up to 11, and then as soon as one plum helmet spawn is used, we have an empty barrel that we can put beer in. I'm also going to go down there and do the same thing for all of the alcohol. Dwarves love alcohol. They will be very unhappy if they have no alcohol to drink. They will also go unhappy if all they're drinking is water. So you need to have booze around the fortress. I really don't care about sand or anything, but I'll leave those up there. And we lost some fish and some lobster, right? So let's bring some more of all the meats. I'm just going to... For this, you also press the plus sign on your keyboard to add. So I'm just going to go up and down, add some more meats. And you can see this little number in parentheses is how many you're actually bringing. I don't think I explained that a second ago. So I'm just going up and down. Going to add some more meat. Just some more things to eat. Maybe some more alcohol. Let's also add some more seeds. I especially like sweet pods. Those make the dwarven rum. The plump helmets make the dwarven wine. That's really all I ever grow. So that'll probably be very good there. And you could also press right and you can go down all the animals. You could bring animals with you. Certain animals such as the turkeys and the hens and the ducks, they will lay eggs, which you can eat or you can allow them to hatch into more hens and ducks and turkeys. And then you could eat them or you can eat the eggs, whatever you want to do. You can milk animals. So if you want to bring a sheep or, I don't know, a cow or something. What else? Probably a yak, a llama. I don't know if you can milk a llama, but you get the idea. You could bring along cats and dogs. Dogs could be trained into hunting dogs or war dogs. Cats can also, they keep the little critters out of your fortress, which dwarves don't like, so rats and stuff like that. And they will also, as long as you have one male and one female on the map, they will find a way to mate, and you will have plenty of cats and dogs running around. Do not worry about that. Now, it looks like I have about everything picked. I'm pretty happy with how this is going, and I have 1 point left. So I'm going to press embark. Now, there's going to be one more step before... No, there's not, because we already chose our spot. So I press embark, and it's going to throw us into the cold, cruel world. And it's going to generate a little message for us after you press embark. At that point, you can also save. If you had been making your own custom setup, you can press the letter S at the bottom to save the loadout. Now here we go. You have arrived after a journey from the mountain homes into the forbidden wilderness beyond your harsh trek has finally ended. Your party of 7 is to make an outpost for the glory of all Seshral. There are almost no supplies left, but with stout labor comes sustenance. Whether by bolt, plow, or hook, provide for your dwarves. You are expecting a supply caravan just before winter entombs you. But it is spring now. Enough time to delve secure lodgings ere the wolves get hungry. A new chapter of dwarven history begins here at this place. Ushanal, icy mountain, strike the earth. And from here, our dwarves are going into the world. So I'm going to end the first video here. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please stay tuned, and the next video will be coming soon, and we will get started. We will start digging and setting up our first fortress.